Hello, fellow Wolverines. My name is Connor Woolley.
And I'm Carly Alice.
In this week's episode, we will recap the Wolverines football season so far, review our women's volleyball success, and discuss the release of the men's basketball schedule. The Michigan Wolverines entered the 2024 college football season with vigor after winning the national championship last season. Michigan, like many programs, lost players to the NFL draft, ranking 128th of 134 college football teams and 17th of 18 Big Ten programs in returning production, according to sources.
Nevertheless, the Michigan Wolverines opened the 2024 season with a bang against Fresno State, Texas, Arkansas State, and most recently, USC. A night game against Fresno State ended 30-10 for the Wolverines, with Mullings leading the rushing game for 92 yards on 15 attempts. A dramatic week 2 featured the Texas Longhorns entering Ann Arbor against the maize-out crowd of over 111,000 fans. A difficult 12-31 loss brought the Wolverines down against the then number 3 Longhorns, who now lead the pack as the number 1 team in the nation. A week 3 comeback against Arkansas State during homecoming weekend featured Michigan scoring 301 rushing yards and only allowing 58 to the Red Wolves. This 2-1 record launched the Wolverines into the top 25, despite a difficult loss to the Texas Longhorns as they prepared to take on the USC Trojans.
This week's game was a thriller at the Big House. In their first game in the Big Ten, the 11th ranked USC Trojans, led by QB Miller Moss, took on our beloved 18th ranked Wolverines. In Alex Orgy's first start, things started off a little bumpy, as neither team could get much going in the first quarter. However, Michigan got the scoring started and took a 7-0 lead when Mullings ripped off a 53-yard rushing touchdown. The scoring didn't stop there, as after another drive that ended in a punt, Donovan Edwards was able to take a 40-yard run all the way to the house for a Michigan touchdown. The next drive, USC kicked a field goal, and the Wolverines went into halftime with a comfortable 14-3 lead.
The second half is when things started to get a little bit shaky. The USC offense team came out firing on all cylinders, and Miller Moss threw a 9-yard touchdown to wide receiver Deuce Robinson on their first drive of the half, bringing the score 14-10. After a Michigan punt, it looked like USC was going to march down the field and take the lead. But when the Wolverines needed a stop, we turned our best player on defense to number 2, Will Johnson. On third down, USC went to throw a screen pass when the pass was intercepted by Will Johnson and returned for a 42-yard touchdown. This was Miller Moss's first interception of the season and gave Will Johnson 3 interceptions returned for touchdowns on his career, which is the most in school history. However, the kick was blocked by USC's Gavin Meyer, so the score did stay at 20-10.
But USC did not let the turnover discourage them, and after a fumble that was recovered by Michigan and then fumbled again, Miller Moss threw a touchdown 2 plays later to wide receiver Jay Fair, making it 20-17. Then there was a bit of a slump with scoring for both teams, as that drive was followed by 4 punts, giving Michigan the ball back. But the drive came to a quick end when Donovan Edwards fumbled at our 18-yard line on the first play of the drive, setting up USC with great field position. 3 plays later, Miller Moss threw a 24-yard touchdown to wide receiver Jacoby Lane, putting USC up 24-20. After a quick 3-and-out by Michigan, it was looking very bleak for the Wolverines. However, the Michigan defense was able to do the same to USC, giving Alex Orgy and the Wolverines one final chance to win the game.
So the drive started with a lot of runs, and Alex Orgy even threw 2 of his 12 total passes in the game. But the drive really got going when right before the 2-minute timeout, Mullings ripped off a 63-yard run. This gave the Wolverines a first down at the USC 17-yard line. Eventually, Michigan would get to the 3rd and goal and take it to the 2-yard line. Michigan has no choice but to go for it, and on the 4th and goal, Mullings takes it in for his second touchdown of the day, putting Michigan up 27-24. However, the game was not over, and USC instantly began working to get into field goal range. But the Michigan defense did stay strong and was able to get USC to 4th down. On 4th and 9, Miller Moss threw toward the sideline to Jacoby Lane for 8 yards, and he was short. The Wolverines would beat USC in a game for the ages, improving to 1-0 in Big Ten play.
Over to the court, the women's volleyball team has had an outstanding season so far, starting with a 10-1 record. Allison Jacobs so far this season leads the team with 163 kills, accounting for nearly 30% of team kills so far. In a match against Duke, Allison Jacobs led the team with 13 kills. Valentina Valle had 11 kills on 17 swings, adding 4 aces, and Serena Nyambio tallied 4 blocks. The Wolverines' only loss came to UNC last week. After going back and forth in sets to be 2-2, Valle put the Wolverines up 10-8 in the 5th set with 2 straight kills, forcing a Tar Heels timeout. Despite the lead, UNC took control of the match, scoring the final 7 points of the set to win 15-10. At the most recent game this past weekend, Michigan swept Duke 3-0 for the 10th win of the season, bringing the Wolverines to rank 2 in the Big Ten Conference. The Wolverines return home to open conference play against Michigan State on Friday, September 27th at 7 p.m. in Chrysler Center, with a maze out.
So with every passing fall comes the inevitable return of some good old Big Ten basketball, with your Wolverines being led into the fray by new head coach Dusty May, coming over from FAU following 2 straight March Madness berths and a trip to the national semifinal. He is also joined by FAU transfer center Vlad Golden and Yale transfer power forward Danny Wolf. The year starts with an exhibition game against Oakland at Little Caesars on October 20th. Our first competitive game is at home against Cleveland State on November 4th, before journeying to Greensboro, North Carolina to face the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest in the Deacon Wolverine Challenge. On November 15th, Michigan hosts Big 12 hopefuls TCU in the Chrysler Center, and was invited to take part in the Fort Myers tip-off tournament against Virginia Tech on November 25th, and one of Xavier and South Carolina on November 27th.
Michigan starts Big Ten play against Wisconsin on December 3rd in Madison and host Iowa on December 3rd for our first home game against Big Ten competition. Michigan will travel to neutral site New York to face Arkansas in the Jimmy V Classic on December 10th and continue their travels to the Jumpman Invitational in Charlotte, North Carolina, facing Oklahoma on December 18th. Notable Big Ten matchups include Washington on January 12th, Oregon on February 5th, Purdue on February 11th, MSU on February 21st, and Illinois on March 2nd. Our big rivalry game with Ohio State will be in Columbus on Friday, February 16th.
This Saturday, September 28th, our Wolverines look to retain possession of the Little Brown Jug as they face Minnesota in the 99th battle for the oldest trophy game in college football history. It has been 7 seasons since the Gophers played at Michigan Stadium. U of M has won 26 of the last 28 games and holds a 73-23-2 edge in the all-time series, with Minnesota led by head coach PJ Fleck, senior quarterback Max Brosmer, and headed by a defense allowing only 223 yards of total offense and only 99 passing yards per game. The Wolverines will once again need to rely on more heroics from Kalel Mullings and Donovan Edwards to improve to 4-1 and remain undefeated in Big Ten Conference play. So, speaking of Big Ten Conference play, what is your take on USC coming here last weekend and kicking off conference play football?
Yeah, it was a great game. I've been to a lot of games here at Michigan Stadium. That might have been one of the best, one of the closest down to the wire games we've had. I will say though, it was great that we came in, showed, hey, national champions, we're back. We've got that smash mouth football. We don't need to throw the ball. But if we want to be successful with this tough schedule and this tough new Big Ten conference, we've got to find some passing offense, and we need to just get all around completion on that side of the ball.
I 100% agree. Something that we've struggled with in the past is turning the tide when we're down. And USC could have clinched a win, and we totally realigned and went for it, and it absolutely worked out. I was able to watch the game on the sideline, and so I had an insane experience, especially witnessing Miller Moss trying to rally his team, not home field advantage, and he was going down with a fight. Unfortunately, we did overcome, and I'm really happy about that, and I can't wait to see how the season progresses.
Definitely. Yeah, that was a tough environment to play in, and it was great to be a part of. And if we keep that for every home game this season, it's going to be hard for any team to come in here and take our title away from us.
Well, who's got it better than us?
Nobody.